For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me to discuss managing Zuma's departure without undermining democracy. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
Why do you think the talks for President Zuma's exit took so long, and why is it not easy for him to step down?
Well, you know, if they want him to step down, they really want him to admit that he has disgraced the country, disgraced the ANC, and he doesn't want to admit this. He says, he's quoted as saying, "I did nothing wrong." So he appears to have played along with Cyril Ramaphosa, making as if he's reasonable, but in fact he's strung him along because also if he loses control of state apparatuses as president, then it's harder for him to interfere with the administration of justice, and maybe the chances of him going to jail are increased if he leaves power. So he wants to hold on as long as possible, but it's now got to a point where the ANC feels if Zuma doesn't go, they may lose the elections. And also many of them want to clean up and get the economy going.
So do you think most of his challenges are based on on his corruption scandals that he's been having around during his office tenure? And do you think maybe it's fair for him, because we've had talks now that he wants 3 months in office before he resigns? Do you think it's fair?
No, I don't think it's fair. I think he must just go, because there's a widespread feeling. It seems to be the majority of people in the ANC and in Parliament who want him to go, and if he's not sure about that, then he must face a vote of no confidence. So wanting 3 months, what for? You know, to steal more or what? You know, one doesn't know. And I think, given what Zuma has done in the 9 years he's been in office, we have to be cautious about allowing him any more time, because the country is in a real critical situation with the downgrade of the currency, with the collapse of state enterprises. A lot of these things are to do with Zuma.
And yesterday we had statements from the opposition parties saying that they are even calling for elections, early elections, because of what is happening, because now they've lost faith on what Ramaphosa has been saying, that because he's promised us over a few days ago that Zuma will step down, but nothing has happened. Do you think that is fair for the opposition parties to say that?
Well, they say that Parliament as a whole is tainted because of not carrying out its duties, which the Constitutional Court enunciated, and really it should seek a fresh mandate. And I think it is not necessarily a positive thing, in the sense that if they want Ramaphosa to be the new president and to clean up, Ramaphosa must take office. And I think there are indications, whatever the limitations of Ramaphosa may be, there are indications that he is able to get some things moving which were stalled under Zuma. And this dissolution of Parliament, I'm not sure that it will serve any purpose.
And now we've heard Ramaphosa saying that people must be calm because he doesn't want to humiliate President Jacob Zuma. But some now are saying maybe this has in fact humiliated Ramaphosa. Would you agree with that?
Well, you know, I don't know if Ramaphosa is humiliated. I think that Ramaphosa's method for removing Zuma through dignified talks has not worked, because Zuma just views this as a way of stalling, and it hasn't worked, and maybe that is a humiliation. I don't want to really judge where the quality. It was a very difficult task that Ramaphosa had. maybe they should have just gone for firing him in the beginning, but they didn't have the majority then, I think. Now it seems it's reported that there's a unanimous decision to recall Zuma. So I wasn't all that keen on this phraseology of giving him a dignified exit, not humiliating him. You know, he may end up in a prison uniform, and that will be humiliating for him. And I think that may be the course of the law, and that may be what lies ahead and what Zuma wants to stall on.
And do you think maybe he might get away with what is done, because we've had talks that him and his son Duduzane would actually turn state witnesses?
No, I've never heard about Duduzane being a state witness, but what I've heard is that some people want Zuma to, or suggesting that Zuma be a state witness against his son and the Guptas. And the thing about that is Ramaphosa can't offer him that. That is a deal between the prosecution and one of the accused in exchange for them disclosing everything about themselves and giving evidence against the others, and then a court can decide if the evidence has been truthful, then release them. But there's no need, well, it's not clear to me that they need Zuma to be a state witness. And it's one way of just getting him off the hook. Personally, I think he must just face the charges. But he's shameless. You know, he would possibly be prepared to give evidence against his son. He's not denied the rumor.
And lastly, Raymond, we've heard now of talks that the ANC has actually granted President Zuma 48 hours to finally step down. What can we expect as South Africans while waiting for that call?
Like, I'm not good on forecasts. All I know is that Zuma is going to get some demand from the ANC, and he says he will reply publicly. It's likely to be a fairly arrogant reply, in my opinion, and they may have to take it to Parliament. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I'm not a fortune teller.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about managing Zuma's departure without undermining democracy.